Welcome to Camera Movements and Stabilization. We're going to speak about 4 different camera movements today. The first one is referred to as forward. The technical term is dolly. And that's this nice, smooth forward movement that you'll see in many videos. The second one is rotate, or what is technically known as pan. This is a pan left, but you could also do a pan right. It's just a slow rotation to either side. Then we have the tilt, which in this case is a tilt down, but we could also tilt upwards. And then a sideways movement, which is technically known as a truck. The truck is an excellent movement for revealing shots. The tilt is excellent for the first shot, for example, showing an entire condo building or showing a room for the first time. Also excellent if you're showing off a feature of the house, perhaps a stove or a fridge, maybe walk-in closet. Rotate is great for views or showing off rooms. And forward is basically the best standard motion that you could use. In fact, with just forward and rotate, you could shoot an entire live stream video or even a promotional video. I'd recommend testing these out with your phone, getting comfortable with them, and knowing which one to use when. The forward one, of course, again, is moving through any location, entering a new room, introducing a subject can be forward. You could potentially even do an entire video with just forward movement. When we combine all of these things, we can create fluid movement throughout a property. So here, we're moving through a condo, rotating, moving forward slightly, rotating left now, moving forward again. There's a decision point here, either truck or rotate. Are we going sideways or are we turning? We decide to move sideways first and then push in close to see the view from a better angle, rotating to the right, and then following the rotation all the way through. Notice how the camera doesn't turn back, create a jolt, or make things awkward. It's fluid motion, always moving forward or rotating towards where we're going next. Let's take a look at that again. We're moving forward, we're rotating, forward again. This easily could be a rotate, but we decide to move sideways just to show that option. And then the rotation. There is a choice point here. It would be possible to rotate back to the left and then move out of the room. But it is nice for the viewer to see this fluid motion continue through, showing off the greenery and the artwork, and then continuing out towards a movement, either to exit the room or towards the walk-in closet. Now, this video doesn't show a tilt movement, but again, tilt would be perfect for demonstrating the size and storage of the walk-in closet that's available at this property. In order to stabilize the video that you've seen, we have to use everything. We have to use a wide lens on the camera, in this case the iPhone. The lens itself is a floating lens and is stabilized. Some lenses are stabilized by magnets or other forms of construction. The phone itself has software which stabilizes the footage. We could potentially use a gimbal or stabilizer, and I'll show you that in a moment. We use our human body, so bending of the knees and elbows, in order to soften the movement upwards and downwards and left and right. And we move slowly instead of moving quickly. We won't be covering it in this video, but also editing software has additional levels of stabilization. And it's possible to record video in 60 frames a second. That would look like HD 60 or 4K 60, and then to slow that video down in editing by 50% to make an even smoother motion. Looking at just the lenses of the camera, depending on what kind of phone you have, you will have either 2 or 3 of these options, 2x, 1x, or 0.5x. Using a 2x camera, you'll see that there is a lot of camera movement while moving quickly. A less zoomed in camera, 1x, which is equivalent to 26 millimeters of a DSLR camera, full frame, we see a lot less movement. Let's show that again. And then going down to 0.5 or a wide angle lens, we see that there's even less movement. And this says 26 millimeters, but it is in fact a 13 millimeter equivalent lens. This lens is the same focal length that you would expect to see in real estate photography. So step one is using the widest lens available. If your camera doesn't have a 0.5x lens, then use the 1x lens. The second thing to use is the human body, arm position, and walking. I'll show that now. So in most cases, we might hold the camera up. You can see here the gimbal in my hand, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But what we actually want to do is we want to pull the camera in close to our body, bending at the elbow and having that camera as close, tight into our body as we can without our arm actually touching our torso. The next thing we want to do is bend the knees. Grip if we have the ability to with two hands. In this case, I'm able to with the stabilizer. However, you could put your left hand holding onto your right hand or holding on to the other side of the phone. We do something called the ninja walk, which is a heel to toe movement where we move forward and plant our heel and then roll forward on that to the toe and then follow with the other heel and toe. And I'll just show that again. Heel first, knees bent, and this creates the most stable motion possible. I'm going to annotate this slide just to show you again. So we have the bent elbow, the bent knee, heel first, and then toe, following one foot after the other. You'll notice also that the camera here is perpendicular to the ground. This is really important to get those nice clean movement shots. It looks less professional if the camera is tilted down or tilted upwards. Another thing to mention is that often when we're filming inside properties, there will be a countertop or a table or a bed. Any surface in the property, we want to have the camera roughly 1 foot above the surface. You want to make sure that the camera is never underneath the surface, showing underneath tables, underneath counters, underneath beds. We really do want it to be above the surface, and 1 foot range, roughly plus or minus 6 inches, is usually the ideal range. Here are some examples of walking with the arm out as first demonstrated and walking fast. You can see that this is very disorienting. Continuing to walk fast but pulling just the elbow in, making no other changes. I suppose this is slightly slower. You'll notice a huge improvement from the arm out. And now bending the knees, walking slow, elbow in, and we get even more smooth movement. This is just the phone, not using the stabilizer. So whether or not you decide to invest in a stabilizer, this can make a huge improvement on the quality of your videos and live streams. If you do decide to invest in a gimbal, they're available for $130 to $160 on Amazon. I recommend the two name brands, either DJI or Zhiyun. Both are excellent gimbals, and I've used both of them over the years and have been very satisfied. DJI is probably considered the industry standard, but Zhiyun is right up there as well. Combining everything that we've talked about up to now with the gimbal, we're able to achieve that ultra smooth movement that you saw at the beginning. There really is, at this point, no replacement for a gimbal, and the gimbal alone won't do the trick. You do need to be wearing, soft-soled shoes, bending the knees, bending the elbow, walking slowly, moving slowly, using a phone that has stabilization. And for example, the iPhone 11, the 4K 60 version is not stabilized. So it's recommended to use either HD 60 or 4K 30. And basically, we have to use everything possible in order to achieve the smooth movement that you're used to seeing from professional videography. Hope this has been helpful, and if you have any questions, please let me know.